So we've talked about chiropractors, about them being not very basically scientifically evidence-based. Well, turns out there was this interesting report published. I'll leave a link to the full thing below, but we're just going to read the conclusion and essentially a small extract because it's rather interesting. Because, believe it or not, there are a couple of different of what they call schools of chiropractic. There's basically the quack version and the not so quack version, basically. There's no way you can split it. There are the people who say it's all down to, you know, energy healing, the reopening of the, you know, the energy routes and flows, and then there are other people who just say, you know, basically sort of believe that quack nonsense, but they don't go fully into it. So, in 2008, this article was published in the Chiropractic and Osteopathy magazine in volume 16, article 10, August 29th of 2008. Now, it is quite old, but you can tell they haven't been able to achieve this. And the title of this is "How Can Chiropractic Become a Respected Mainstream Profession?" So, this is one of the extracts I'm just going to read. Now, it's a long article, but part 5 of this is about fidelity to the social contract. And this is quite funny. So, the chiropractic profession has an obligation to actively divorce itself from metaphysical explanations of health and disease, as well as to actively regulate itself in refusing to tolerate fraud, abuse and quackery, which are more rampant in our profession than any other healthcare professions. This must be done on an individual practitioner basis, as well as by the political, educational and regulatory bodies. In this way, the profession can fulfill its responsibility to the social contract, and this will dramatically increase the level of trust and respect for the profession from the society at large. Well, that's quite funny because I don't think we've covered it before. I can't remember now. But chiropractors are one of the biggest pushers of anti-vax nonsense. They've particularly the ruling body in America, the UK, Australia has gone after, not heavily, because, you know, if anything we've done over the past few years is that these regulatory boards are not strict enough with these, you know, practitioners. We've had practitioners who have, you know, injured people continuously, and then only when they've, you know, done serious injury to someone do they then almost lose their license, and then they can apply again in a couple of years to get it back. Or when someone has been, you know, when there is proven damage. In the case we covered a couple of videos back about the baby who had clearly suffered from, you know, a chiropractor adjusting its neck. They basically didn't do anything to the chiropractor. The chiropractor is still at large, be able to do this to people. So for them to come forward and say that, good on them for actually being able to say it. But bear in mind, this was written in 2008. I wonder what the general consensus of chiropractors was to that. You can obviously tell that it didn't work. So, nope, too far. So, the conclusion to all this. So, it's worth a read, this. Like I say, I'll leave a link to the full thing down below. Like I say, we'll be here for a good, you know, 20 or 30 minutes if I read the full thing. So, I'm just going to read that extract and just the conclusion. So, the reform of the chiropractic profession is long overdue. We need to dramatically We need to make dramatic changes in the profession if we are to advance ourselves in the direction of becoming a credible, respectable, and widely utilised profession. Many mistakes were made in the past that prevented us from making this advancement. However, it is not too late to correct these mistakes. I wonder if that's a bit of chiropractic humour that guy put in. There is an example of a profession that in the same 110 plus years that the chiropractic profession has existed has achieved the same kind of mainstream acceptance that we have failed to achieve. The podiatric medical profession succeeded in establishing itself as a mainstream profession because of a certain specific actions it took and certain actions it did not take. We see tremendous opportunity for chiropractic medicine to become what it can and should be, a profession of non-surgical spine specialists. Again, that still worries me, that. Who not only offer useful modernity of treatment for the spinal path manipulation and other something much greater and more important, expertise in the diagnosis and management and spinal pain of patients. This includes understanding the vast mechanisms of spinal pain, as well as diagnosis, treat and coordination of treatment of other members of the healthcare team. It also means mastering a variety of non-surgical methods other than just manipulation that are useful in the patient's overcoming of spinal pain. Well, you see, that's the problem, because that means they actually have to learn real proper science. One thing that I didn't say, there is a section on this about them being allowed in hospitals and actually becoming part of a real hospital team. And he didn't mention this at all, but you've seen them mention, oh, we've got to get rid of the quackery in our profession. Your entire profession is based on quackery. This knowledge came from a ghost. And I'm not making it up. We've already done a video of that on that last week. So the very fact that they would actually have to go and get real medical training, which will be at odds with their chiropractic learning. Let's not misunderstand that. That is not going to mesh. And this is why you can tell that this has never happened. That this was not the great call to arms and the great, reinventing of chiropractic, where it can become available in all hospitals and doctors' offices. But most importantly, it means becoming experts in patient management, i.e. helping patients... I've lost my place there. Helping patients overcome spinal pain, whether that means providing adjustments, exercise, short-term medication use, and or education regarding issues related to LBP provided in a cognitive behavioural context. Currently, there is no profession that adequately fits that role. Although, as we noted earlier, the physical therapy profession is moving quickly in that direction. The opportunity is there for us to correct our mistakes, but we must act now. The only question is whether the chiropractic profession has the integrity, vision, or self-reflection required to make the necessary changes. Time will tell. Well, that was written in 2008. And I think we can safely say that almost 10 years on by this point, it's 2007, so 9 years later, we can safely say that the chiropractic profession has not had the integrity, as evidenced by, numerous chiropractors videos that you can see on YouTube claiming multiple absolutely fraudulent, ridiculously stuff, spouting anti-vax nonsense and pushing other you know, vitamins and supplements that people don't need just to fill their own back pockets. Vision, absolutely not. Chiropractors refuse that they have even had, you know, responsibility for injuring patients. In fact, if you look up any time a chiropractor has taken to court, even though they've been, you know, presented with medical evidence to say that, look, the only way this patient could have been injured is by someone manipulating his spine or, you know, bone structure in this way, they have refused to take, you know, to take responsibility for that action. You know, and self-reflection. This is another thing. There have been numerous times where, again, going back to the chiropractic board, they have refused to take licenses away from chiropractors who have done damage, and they've gone on to do even more serious forms of damage. You know, there are videos on YouTube of chiropractors performing adjustments on babies in, you know, America and Australia. The chiropractic board says this is illegal, and chiropractors have admitted sneaking into hospitals to perform adjustments on babies and on patients. That is illegal, and the chiropractic board has refused to go after them, even though they are named on, you know, on boards. So, as you can tell, since 2008, that guy wrote it with the best of intentions. I wonder what he thinks now. I feel that's an interesting question. That is a interesting question, actually. You know what? I might actually try and do that. Try and hunt down the guy or one of the people who wrote this. So, I will actually try and see if I can do that. See if we can actually hunt down one of these people and say, so you wrote this in 2008. What do you think, given what you said there, has there been, you know, any progress? It'd be interesting to actually talk to one of these people. So what we're looking at here. So we've got Donald R. Murphy, Michael J. Stellinger, I think that's how you say it, David R. Seaman, Stephen M. Pearl, and Craig F. Nielsen. So we're going to look those people up just to see and try and get in contact with them, see what they have to say, see if their ideas have changed or whether they still think that's possible. It'd be interesting, really.